Liebe Zuschauer, herzlich willkommen zu Inside Wall Street, hier aus dem Studio der New York Stock Exchange. Und mein Gast heute ist Hedgefondsmanager, er ist Buchautor und er ist um die ganze Welt gereist. Mein Gast ist Jim Rogers. Welcome to the show, Mr. Rogers.
I'm delighted to be here, Manuel.
So we see the crisis in Europe. There's the EU summit this week. What do you think? Could the euro fail maybe?
Well, not this week. The euro's going to be okay this week. They're going to announce something, I don't know what, that's going to sound good. It's going to make everybody feel good for a while. But Manuel, the problem is not over. The problem, they'll be back next month or, next quarter or something, because they keep fooling themselves. You cannot solve a problem of too much debt with more debt. And that's what they keep trying to do. It's going to get worse, not better.
What is the alternative then?
The alternative is to let people go bankrupt. People have failed. Let the people who failed go bankrupt. You can ring-fence them. You can say, okay, we're going to save the system. Checks will clear. Bank accounts will be okay. But you're going to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to take some losses. A lot of banks have to take a lot of losses. A lot of bondholders have to take a lot of losses. Shareholders have to get wiped out. But they made the mistakes. German taxpayers didn't make the mistakes. Dutch taxpayers didn't make the mistakes. When you fail, and you're supposed to suffer.
But it's a European Union, so everyone should fight for his own?
Well, everybody should hold together, yes, if that's what you mean. But in America, for instance, we've had states go bankrupt. We've had cities go bankrupt. It didn't end the United States. It didn't end the U.S. dollar. We survived all of that. When people do things that are mistakes, they have to pay the price for those mistakes. Europe can hold together. Europe may not hold together if you keep trying just to continue to build more debt, add more debt, paper problems over. Europe could survive. The best thing Europe could do would be let Greece go bankrupt, let people take the losses, and then start over. My goodness, if they did that, then everybody would know it's a sound currency, it's a strong currency, it's a strong union, and it's going to work. The way they're doing it now is going to be a mess.
What do you think about the European leaders? Is maybe Germany, Merkel, too dominant?
Germany is the largest and most powerful and richest country and most successful country in Europe. So normally they should be the leaders of Europe when you have successful and rich people. So yes, Germany should be in charge. But the Germans right now, as I said, are making mistakes. I don't think they're doing the right thing either. What will probably happen if they keep making mistake after mistake after mistake, eventually all the leaders are going to get thrown out. They're going to be replaced by other people. Then we'll see what happens.
What do you think about the role of the ECB?
Well, the ECB should not print money. The ECB should not bail people out. The ECB's mandate was to make sure that the currency remained stable and strong and that there was no inflation. That's what they should do. If they start getting involved with bailing out failed banks or failed countries, it's going to corrode the ECB, it's going to corrode the currency, it's going to corrode the whole union together. They should stick with their regular mandate, not try to do other things, or they're just going to make the situation worse.
When we look to the currencies, when the euro is getting uncertain now, is the dollar the better currency?
Well, I actually own the euro right now. I own both, but I expect the euro to go higher for a while. Whatever is going to come out in the next week or two is going to make people think that the euro is okay and going to make people think that Europe's okay. And you will probably see, I hope anyway, I own the euro because I expect to see it go higher for a while, higher against the dollar.
So what do you think about the U.S. market? If there's the problem in Europe, could there be some problems come over the Atlantic to the U.S. market?
Well, no, of course, but at the moment I expect markets to go higher because Europe is going to act like things are okay. But when the European problems come back or when the American problems come back, everybody's going to suffer. America is the largest single market in the world, economy in the world. Europe as a whole is an even bigger economy than America. So if either one of those economies get into trouble, everybody in the world suffers. Those are the two largest economies in the world. Of course, they affect everybody.
Next year there is the presidential and Congress election here in the U.S. Do you think Obama has to fight more for the economy? Is he strong enough?
The only way he can win the election is to do something about the economy. So he's going to spend a lot of money. He's going to do whatever he can to buy as many votes as he can by making some people better off. And that's the only way he can win. If he doesn't do that, no president can ever win an election with a bad economy. He's going to have to make things better if he wants to win.
Do you think he will have to fight to win? Is it?
Oh yeah, he's going to have a very difficult time because the economy has been bad since he was there. You can't blame it on somebody else anymore. They know he has been the president for 4 years. So no, he's going to spend a lot of money. He's going to spend a lot of money trying to win the election.
What do you think if we would see a new president next year? Would be there some changes, especially for Wall Street?
Well, there'll be some changes, and the old president's friends would be out, and the new president's friends would be very successful and make a lot of money. Is he going to make anything better? I doubt it, because none of the people running for president, most of them anyway, don't understand the problem, and they're just going to do the same old thing, and we'll have more problems and worse.
You by yourself live in Asia, and you say, let your children learn Chinese. So is China the next superpower?
In my view, the 21st century will be the century of China. Yes, I moved to Asia. My children speak perfect Mandarin. I hope I'm preparing them for the 21st century.
What do you suggest for other people if they look into the future? Should they really learn Chinese?
Well, if I'm right, you want to know the language of the dominant country. China alone is already the second largest economy in the world. Just wait 10 years, 20 years, as other economies do like this, and even if China stays flat, they're going to become the dominant power, the dominant economy in the 21st century. So people should at least be aware of that and examine it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll think I'm wrong, but they should at least study the possibility, because there's some very exciting things happening in China.
Do you invest in the Asia market?
I do own shares in China. I wouldn't buy any now. I only buy Chinese shares when they collapse, but every time they collapse, I buy more. They're for my children and my grandchildren someday, so I expect great things out of China.
Do you have some hints what is possible to have an eye on?
Well, I'm watching things. The Chinese government is spending a lot of money on water. They've got a huge water problem. They're spending a huge amount of money on agriculture. Mao Zedong ruined agriculture in China, so they're giving incentives to rebuild agriculture. They're building infrastructure, travel in China. They're encouraging their people to travel now. So there are a lot of industries in China that are going to do very, very well.
Do you also invest in commodities like in food?
I'm very bullish on agricultural commodities, extremely bullish. The world has been consuming more than it's been producing for most of the last 10 years. We have shortages of everything developing man. The average age, farmers in most of the world are very old now. In Asia, in Japan, the average age of farmers is 66. In America, it's 58. I mean, we're going to have serious food problems in the next few years unless prices go much higher. They have to go much higher.
But, you know, you traveled around the world. You saw so many countries, poor countries as well, Africa, India. So when you invest into food, do you have a moral concern?
I certainly do. You ask the poor farmers. The poor farmers are out there starving. In India, hundreds of thousands of farmers commit suicide every year because food prices are so low. Prices have to go higher, or we're not going to have any food at any price. If somebody doesn't invest in food, where's the food going to come from? Are you going to go into the fields and work 12 hours a day in the hot sun for nothing so that we can sit in New York and have cheap pate and drink cheap champagne? The moral is everybody should be investing in food. Everybody should be trying to get food prices higher, or we're not going to have any food at any price because all the farmers are going to die or commit suicide, and then where's the food going to come from?
You're also known as a gold bull. So what do you think about gold at the moment?
Well, I own gold. At the moment, I wouldn't buy gold at the moment. Gold has gone up 11 years in a row, and very rarely does something go up 11 years in a row. Gold needs a correction, a consolidation. It's been correcting for 3 months now. I would expect it to correct for a few more weeks or months. I hope it does. I hope gold goes down so I can buy more gold. But if it goes up 12 years in a row, then it gets more and more worrisome, you know. Things that never go down, have problems. So I hope it goes down.
2009, you predict an oil rally as well. What do you think about the oil price at the moment?
Well, the surprise is going to be how high the price of oil stays and how high it goes, because the world is running out of known reserves of oil. whether we like it or not. There may be a lot of oil in the world, but if there is, we don't know where it is. So you're going to see much higher prices of oil over the next decade. There'll be times when it goes down, but we got to have more oil, and the only way we're going to do that is to find more, and prices have to go higher until we find it.
When we look to the current market, we saw such a volatility. So what do you think? Will this continue?
Oh yes, no, we're going to have serious volatility in the markets. The world, the West anyway, has been riding on debt, huge amounts of debt. That causes more and more strains in the system. No, you're going to see a lot more volatility. Stocks are not going to be a great place to be for most of the next 10 years or so. The best place to be is going to be in the producers of real assets. Become a farmer if you really want to be successful in the next 10, 20 years.
Here around this area, we had the protest of Occupy Wall Street. You are one of those 1% they always say, you know. What do you think about Occupy Wall Street?
I don't think much about it at all. There are people who, from what I can gather, want somebody to take care of them, to pay their bills. You know, the reviews, the interviews I saw were people saying, I've got big debts. I want somebody to take care of my debts. Well, I want somebody to take care of me too. You know, you've got to be more rational than just say, pay my bills.
So you think these people should study something for the future or learn Chinese, for example?
Well, become farmers. There are plenty of opportunities in the world. If I'm right, there are magnificent opportunities in America in things like agriculture, mining, oil, lumberjacks. There are plenty of places that you can make them. In some states in the United States, they cannot find workers because there's so much prosperity. Go where the jobs are. Don't sit here in New York and say, pay my bills, pay my debts.
What is your next project?
Oh, I've got 2 little girls. I spend as much time with these 2 little girls as I can. They're 3 and 8 years old, and that's my life now.
Great. Thank you so much, Jim Rogers. Liebe Zuschauer, auch Ihnen vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Bis zum nächsten Mal bei Inside Wall Street.